Today, I'm going to share the story of how building strength actually changed my life. Hey there, if you're new around here, my name is Hannah Martin. And I'm actually a professional ballet dancer with the Enrol Ballet. To really tell this tale exactly how it was, we need to go way back to the beginning. When I was born, I was pretty hypermobile. I always remember my mum used to be quite concerned whether I was actually going to walk or not when I was a toddler because my hips were so flexible. Pretty evident from a young age that my limbs would probably need more support than the average person's because they were so hypermobile and flexible. Fast forward a few years, I started doing some artistic gymnastics, a little bit of ballet, a little bit of acro, and I would throw myself fully into it. Honestly, if I was apt at artistic gymnastics, I probably would have tried to make the Olympic team. My only problem was every time I went to try and do a backflip, I would just bend in half. I didn't have the strength. My body had no limitations on it, so it would just bend in half instead of keeping any kind of form or shape. This was extremely frustrating because I could never understand why I couldn't do movements like everyone else. It also made coordination super difficult because everyone could coordinate their limbs and mine just felt like they were going 360 degrees where most people's only went 45. So it was quite confusing as a young dancer, a young gymnast, to wonder why I felt behind, wonder why I struggled with movements way more than others, why I couldn't coordinate or be as fast as others. That was another thing, it made me a lot slower. But the thing is that I don't feel like anyone really said at the beginning how to fix it. It was just, well, that's what you were given. You should be grateful for the flexibility you have, but you're not suitable for this because you're not strong enough. Of course, we did bits and bobs of conditioning, but it just felt like extracurricular. It wasn't really what I saw at the time the key to me getting to where I wanted to go. I was doing everything very recreationally at that point, but I still had the mindset of if I wanted to do something, I wanted to do it well and I wanted to do it the best because that was kind of just in my nature from the beginning. When I hit 8 years old, I actually started rhythmic gymnastics, and that's when I was like, wow, I found a sport that actually really lends itself to my flexibility, to my mobility. I was like, this is where I can thrive. Finally, somewhere where I can use my flexibility to its full potential. The only slight struggle is that when you are using flexibility to your full potential, you actually need more strength to be able to control it. Let's just say those first rhythmic gymnastics competitions didn't quite go the way I had pictured. Yes, I came last in a lot of my first competitions as a rhythmic gymnast. Did not show a lot of promise according to the judges. I was getting so upset with putting all of myself into it and not seeing the results. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. By the end of the competition season, I felt at a loss. So my mum actually went up to a judge and she was like, look, what are we doing wrong here? My mum was actually coaching me at the time and we were trying to figure it all out as we went along. The judge was pretty brutal, I'm not gonna lie. She looked us right in the face and she said, "You're an overexpressive floppy mess." She also had some other choice words as well, but I won't repeat them on here. Obviously I think I must have been about 10 or 11 at the time. That was very difficult to hear, devastating even when you're putting a lot of work into it. But I felt like that was a turning point. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And I felt like if I didn't have that kind of wake-up call of this is the reality of what you're putting out, I mean, it could have been maybe delivered a bit kinder, but it was a reality check of, okay, if this is my present situation, how can I take myself from where I am now to where I want to be? And that's when we decided to focus on strength. Every single day I was doing something towards my strength. My mum handed me a Pilates book and was like, try this. So, yeah, a book, because we didn't have like proper YouTube videos back in those days. My mum did actually invest in a Pilates teacher a couple of times, but we didn't have money for regular lessons. We didn't really have money to send me to some fancy studio or anything like that. So I had this Pilates book and I would wake up at 5:30 every morning and I would just work my way through the exercises. This was the start of realizing what strength can do to transform your body, to transform your life. So I started this every day at 5:30, and then we also started doing the British qualification testing. So back then, as a rhythmic gymnast, you had to go through a series of strength tests in order to qualify for the British Championships. This became my goal and my dream. I had failed miserably every time I had done this qualification testing. It did not look likely I was ever going to pass. This test had tormented me for the last year because I had tried it before and honestly got some of the worst marks. I think my conditioning mark was in the 30%, and you need at least 60 to 70 to pass. To be honest, it did not look likely that I was going to be able to muster enough strength in about 4 or 5 months in order to pass this qualification testing. But try we did. And I remember me and my mum, we would practice this British qualification testing, which included 1 minute of skipping. It included roll-up jumps, so rolling back and jumping a little bit like a burpee, calf rises. Wow, blast from the past. What else did it have in it? It was just a series, a circuit of exercises in which you'd have to really pump. It was cardio, it was endurance. And so we started practicing this 2 to 3 times a week. I absolutely hated it, and my body being quite weak, conditioning was not a fun process for me. In the end, whenever the girls were stretching, I would be then set to do more conditioning. This became kind of a theme in my life going forwards. And it never really got easier, but I think my relationship with conditioning changed as I saw how it was changing my life and changing my performance skills. So little bit by little, I was working on the strength. Sometimes it's rare that you see this overnight, to be honest. It's rare that you see the results straight away. And I kind of didn't really notice getting stronger. I noticed that I started being able to do more movements. Suddenly I was able to do a fish pirouette and hold it for longer. I was suddenly able to do a penché that I had been struggling to do for ages. Started unlocking new levels and new skills that I had never been able to do before. Couldn't figure out why, because I had the mobility, I had all the range, but it really was the strength that was missing. For me, we used the British qualification testing was a great little program, but sometimes finding the structure is the hardest bit. Finding the structure that's right for you and right for the time that you're in. And that is actually why I created a 4-week course. It can be longer than 4 weeks. I've just kind of put it in that format to make it easier for you guys. But it provides a structure and a focus and a training program that you can actually follow, so you're not doing all the guesswork. I think some of the hardest part with strength is actually trying to guess, is this the right exercise? Is this the right thing to do? How much of it should I do a day so I don't get injured? Where do I even start? And so I've actually provided a 4-week plan for you. I've literally just launched it this Sunday. Would really recommend checking that out. If strength is something you are struggling with, it's providing consistency for you, because you can't build any strength if you're not being consistent. It's just not going to happen. So in this course, I've actually provided 2 workouts, one for those days that you feel super motivated and one for those days that you feel a little bit more tired and don't want to do something. But it's a workout that can still activate those muscles without putting them through their paces so much. And this is actually something that I've learned from all these years of experience that I'm about to talk about. So if you are interested, make sure to check the link in the description and sign up today. You have lifetime access, so you can do it wherever, whenever, with no equipment required. It's the perfect program to take with you on the go, at home, in the studio. I've actually literally been doing it every day of my rehab because I've been in London and home and here, and I haven't been able to take equipment with me, but literally I can do this anywhere. I've been doing it in my bedroom of my godparents' house. It's that easy. So if you're looking for structure and craving structure to build your strength, that is the place to go. Full body strength. Anyway, back to my story. We were building on the strength. We finally had a little bit of structure going on. We still were relatively new to understanding how building strength worked and everything, but we just kind of kept plugging away. And I started prioritizing strength a lot more. I started making sure that I was doing it every single day. It wasn't an optional thing. It was a must for me in my training, realizing that's the area I really needed to target to access that next level. I just remember I showed up at the British qualification testing and people were looking at me differently. I was like, what's going on here? I'm the same person that you guys failed last time. What's going on? The thing about strength training, it also tones you in a different way. You're not only feeling stronger, you're also looking stronger, and it's like a whole holistic approach to it. So I remember I was like, wow, like actually all this work I've put in is paying off. And, you know, sure enough, a couple of weeks later, I got the pass that I had been dreaming of. I was going to go and compete at the national championships, which was my dream, which is why I had put all this work in, all the early mornings, all the late nights training. And it was so exciting. Little did I know that the next competition I went to, the very ones that I was coming last in, I actually ended up winning that year. I remember going to the competition, one with all of the national champions competing all in one place. And I went on for my routine and, you know, I had learned a lot. I was a lot stronger. I was doing skills that were way beyond what I was doing before. Not even way beyond what I was doing before, the same movements, but just a lot more refined and a lot stronger. There was not this sense of weakness or uncertainty. There was a lot more strength behind what I was doing. I remember coming off from my ball routine and I had a couple of little like wobbles. My mum was coaching me and putting me on the floor at the time. She's like, I know, I've seen you do it better. And I was like, oh man, well, can forget meddling in that one. And then I went on for my clubs routine, and in my kerfuffle, I actually started facing the wrong way because there was 2 panels of judges and I actually started facing the wrong panel. And so halfway through the routine, I somehow switched it around because I realised I'm facing the wrong way. So I remember coming to, you know, the medal ceremony and I was like, man, this was my time to shine and I messed up. You know, I've had all this newfound strength and I messed it up. But little did I know, when I went on for medal ceremonies, I never really knew where I had placed. You know, 6th place went, because I gave out certificates, 6th place to first. 6th place went out. I was like, okay, maybe 5th. 5th went out. 4th, I was like, surely I couldn't have medalled with those sort of routines, especially my experience from before. 3rd, 2nd, and I was like, there is no way I would have won gold with these routines. And then suddenly I hear my name called out. It was one of those super surreal moments of, this can't be real. I went up and I got awarded my medals, literally beyond my wildest expectations. I think in my dreams, I only allowed myself to think I could get maybe a 6th or 5th place because that was realistic in my brain. Little did I know that the work and the strength I had put in actually exceeded all of my expectations. Anyway, I continued this strength journey throughout my rhythmic gymnastics career. It landed me at the Commonwealth Games, later, you know, the World Championships, going to the European Championships. It was quite a crazy roller coaster of a ride, but strength was always a priority. It always was, you know, at least an hour or 2 of my day was spent strengthening. For the ballet dancers out here, how does this apply to ballet? How did my approach change when it applied to ballet? Because it did have to change when I came to ballet. It did have to adapt and shift. I'd always, like in my rhythmic gymnastics training, approach the strength aspect as the most important part of my training. And then the actual, you know, physical side of doing the ballet, that was like the byproduct of the strength training. I started realizing, oh wow, like ballet itself is actually extremely strengthening. It's not like I'm training for a routine, like I have to do all the strength training for the routine that I'm going to do. It's like, no, actually the ballet is the strength training, and then you can do a little bit of cross training alongside that. So it took me a while to adapt to that way of thinking actually no, the ballet is the most important part and the strength training supports that. Whereas for me, in my rhythmic training, I'd kind of been taught like the strength training is actually the most important part, because then the actual routines will be much easier and they'll flow a lot better if your strength is just there as a baseline. And then I also was trying to figure out what was going to be best for the muscles that I needed. So I didn't need the same muscles that I did in rhythmic for ballet. There are some similarities, but there was slightly different requirements. Like I didn't need so much arm strength to throw apparatus when I was doing ballet. It was more underneath the arms that I needed the strength. So how was I going to build that up? And that's when I actually discovered, you know, after my first surgery, I discovered, you know, I tried a bit of weight training, never really done that before. It didn't really sit very well on my body. I had a few knee issues and stuff like that. For some people it works great. For me, it just didn't sit right for me. Tried some plyometric training. I had done that a bit in rhythmic as well. Again, caused some ankle issues. And then I found Reformer Pilates. And for me, that really sat well on my body. I felt so lengthened and strengthened. And so by the end of like trying everything, Reformer Pilates, weight training, strength training, plyometrics, all of it, I actually settled with Reformer Pilates, floor bar, and progressing ballet technique. Those were the 3 that really resonated and made sense for me. Like I could literally feel the difference when I did them when I went in the ballet studio. I could feel the difference. It was applying to everything. Those were the things that I started to focus on a lot more. And even now, that's what I do. I focus a lot on floor bar. I focus a lot, when I'm better, I'll be doing a lot more reformer Pilates. But these were the things that I found for ballet, for me, strength training wise, translated the best, which is why in my strength program, I feel like there's such a nice balance of, you get the Pilates floor ballet type training, but you also get the kind of strength, the more intensity that I've dabbled in everything, and I've kind of collated it into like a course that hopefully embraces everything, embraces all your needs. And by the end, you'll have enough exercises to kind of figure out what's going to be best for you, because your individual needs are going to be different to anyone else's. And I do stress that throughout the course. Once I had kind of discovered the strength training is a supplement to my ballet training, I approached it in a very different manner, and I approached it with what is the best support, what strength training best supports my ballet, instead of thinking, okay, I need such a huge level baseline strength. It's like, no, the ballet itself, doing a bar is so strengthening if you're doing it the right way. How can I aid? It almost became more like a injury prevention. How can I alleviate stress off my body with strength? How can I make sure that everything is operating at its best with more strength? It became less about how much strength can I cram in around my ballet. It's more like, how can my strength accommodate and ensure that I have enough endurance in my muscles to be able to do everything I need to do as a professional ballet dancer. So the approach became slightly different. But once I started approaching it that way, I actually found I was having less injuries because I wasn't overdoing it as much. I also was having more success in the ballet studio because everything was geared towards that being better. It wasn't like this very big rule book of you have to do X, Y, Z in order to feel like I've done enough. It all felt very supportive and holistic towards the thing I was actually trying to achieve, which was becoming a better ballet dancer. That really is the story of how strength training changed my life. It's been so fundamental in my journey because I am super hypermobile. I actually can't recommend it enough. It could really change the game for you. I feel like, especially in the ballet world, it's not something that's stressed enough, but doing the right exercises can be such a game changer. And in my course, I've been able to highlight all the best ones that have worked for me over much trial and error. So skip the errors and just get all the information in the full body strength program. I will link it all down in the description below. Equally as much, if flexibility is a thing you're struggling with, I do have a 4-week flexibility course also available for you guys, which I'll link down below. Doing them in conjunction would probably be the best pairing. If that's something you want to consider, I definitely think that could provide a really, really good structure for you to be able to live out your dreams, because really, strength training, that's what it did for me. And I really hope it can do the same for you. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you want more videos like this, just let me know. Make sure that you comment this emoji if you made it all the way to the end. I have chatted your ear off long enough, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Thank you so much to everyone who's already signed up for the full body strength course. It has been a magical launch, and I'm just so excited for how this can hopefully help you and unlock your greatest strength, because I truly believe that everyone can be strong. You just need the right structure. Keep working hard, keep dreaming big, and let's keep making it happen.